Black Christmas is a 1974 horror slasher film directed by, of all people, Christmas Story director Bob Clark, rest in peace. However, the villain in this will do more than shoot your eye out, and the main cast has more to worry about than a fucked up furnace. It stars Olivia Hussey, Margot Kidder, rest in peace, Keir Dulley, hopefully I'm saying her name right, and John Saxon. Now, I'll probably have to redo my scariest horror list since this does possess an eeriness that gets very overwhelming at times. Let's stop wasting time and start the review. The premise of Black Christmas revolves around a gang of sorority girls getting together for the holiday season for some quality time with friends. However, the joyous occasion is soon shattered when a mysterious figure sneaks into the sorority home and starts to torment the girls with disturbing phone calls. It isn't long until one of them turns up dead, causing a manhunt to be formed to find the girl. However, what's disturbing is nobody knows that her body is wrapped in plastic rotting in the attic, and nobody knows the killer is nestled in the attic, thus giving the killer an ultimate advantage among everyone involved, and leaving everyone unaware of the danger they are truly in. This is a terrifying premise. This is a premise that literally got under my skin, simply because of how uncomfortable it truly gets. I mean, literally nobody in this film was safe simply because of how close the killer truly was, which ultimately gave it a real disconcerting feel because someone dangerous is literally observing them against their knowledge. And it also doesn't help that the killer's identity is never revealed. No, he doesn't wear a mask. You literally never even get to see him, which only adds to the horror because not only does it make it ambiguous as to who it might be, but also drastically lowers his chances of getting caught since an identity cannot really be assigned to him. This story was just so unnerving and so intense that I literally found myself wincing and cringing simply due to the fact that all of this was happening right above our heroes, which they are oblivious to, and ultimately made me fear for their safety. And it also gave the feel that the killer is practically everywhere since practically nowhere in the house is secure. I give Promise an A+. I've never had a film that made me feel just as vulnerable as this. It takes a pretty common fear that everyone has of some weirdo getting into their house and expands on it by having everyone in the house unaware of the horrors going on in the killer's presence. Next is acting. The acting in this movie was fairly good. Nothing Oscar-worthy, but it helped me to care more for the characters and gave them so much more interesting traits. I especially loved Margot Kidder's performance because it seems like her character was meant to be a comic relief, and the way her Kidder played the part definitely helped to make the character seem more lively because of how fun she truly was. She was also very badass too, and I do believe that Margot Kidder's delivery helped to emphasize that part of her character. Kudos to Lois Lane. And her emotional performance was also very good when she blames herself for one of the girls going missing, since she truly does seem like she feels like she's at fault. Rest in peace, Margot Kidder. I also want to give kudos to Olivia Hussey for having such an engaging performance and truly make me care for her character because of how much depth that she gave her. Yes, the intertwining storylines involving her might have greatly distracted from the story for some, but I feel it gave her character a lot more authenticity. Other than that, the acting was just alright. Nothing too top notch, but still very believable. I give acting an A-. I was originally going to give it a B+, but when I feel what Olivia and Margot gave to their characters and the overall depth they exhibited definitely gave it a boost. Finally, directing. I think part of the reason this film was so shocking is the fact that the person who brought us one of the most mellowed out, most laid-back Christmas specials directed it. This film just had a straight-up shocking, unnerving tone throughout, and I do believe the contrast between the joyous occasion and the grisly killings helped with the overall atmosphere of the movie. I have never seen a more sinister cover of Hark the Herald Angels Sing than I did here. And that probably had to do with the fact that we normally associate Christmas with peace, tranquility, and family. And the presents. Mostly just the presents. Also, some dude named Jesus was born who could turn water into wine. Seems like a pretty cool dude to me. But seriously, the joyous parts of this film are only made more unnerving because of the false sense of security they gave off. And the fact that all this shit is happening inside a house that countless people reside in during the holiday season on top of it only added to the vulnerable feel of the film, since that should be a very secure place to the amount of people in it. But yet the killer averts all of this by hiding within the shadows and waiting until each of his victims is by themselves. The way Bob Clark portrayed the upstairs was also terrifying, since not only was it where the killer hid, obviously, but it just had an overall different feel compared to downstairs. Like, downstairs was full of life, chatter, and lights, and laughter, and everything. Upstairs, however, it was just so dark and quiet and lonely up there, which was truly unnerving given that, even though you couldn't see him, you just knew the killer was somewhere up there, waiting for them. I give directing an A+. I really wish we could have gotten more horrors and thrillers like this from Bob Clark. Overall, Black Christmas is a surprisingly haunting film that demonstrates a subgenre of horror I'd like to call, and I'm sure there's already a name for it, but I've decided to dub it cringe horror. Cringe horror is when a character is placed in a situation that is extremely unnerving or shocking, and ultimately makes you feel the vulnerability of the characters in the situation they are in. The telephone pole scene in Hereditary, the Annie the Mascot, and the plastic wrap scene in this film are all examples of cringe horror. The fact that the killer is unknowingly in the house is also an example of cringe horror, since it not only is unnerving due to how close the killer is, but it adds to the overall vulnerability of the film. I give Black Christmas an A+. Very unsettling film that had me wincing throughout. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and sub for more content.